think the last thing I would just add is, I think relationships too. You'll see, I think, a lot of people off all of the comments that were made. You know, when your house is on fire, who's standing right next to you is a huge point that I'd like to just bring up, and I think that goes back to the feminine energy and the women in this space and your friends and the connections that you make, especially when things are down bad. Like, things are going wrong, who's there? And those connections tend to outlast, you know, the ones that you make on the fly when you're trying to, you know, get something. So just something like that.
I think I saw a hand over here.
Hello, thank you all for being here. You guys are incredible. I just want to say, like, even starting off the session with like, all right, everyone, breathe. We all needed that, especially Blue members here. But I just wanted to ask a question. If you can just elaborate a little bit more on your projects and like, how does that work? Like, for someone that's brand new into the space, like I buy an NFT and I'm contributing to Indigenous people. Like, how does that work? And if you could just break it down, I think we would really love that.
Yeah. So again, working on the model. So just want to put that out there. But yeah, so essentially what we're designing is sort of a geospatially linked map that's interactive. And it would allow an Indigenous group or a conservation organization that's looking to either buy back their own land or, you know, acquire a piece of land for the sole purpose of conserving it and leaving it in, you know, sort of easement type contract, which happens a lot. The ability to fund that project. So, you know, just I'll do a quick example. You know, this square here is representative of 1 million acres. We would map that out and then parcel it out into smaller NFTs that, you know, you and your mother could buy. So it's really allowing greater participation in the ability to sort of steward that land and contribute to conserving it in order to the buyback efforts for that Indigenous community, and then the Indigenous community would essentially be able to use those funds to actually purchase that land back. Anything else? I don't know if that makes sense.
So the NFT represents, it coordinates directly to GPS coordinates in a small tract that you are supporting, and then you as the NFT holder, if I understand correctly, the idea is not that as a sacred NFT holder, I wouldn't have necessarily like a governance say over what happens with that land, because the whole point is to put the land back in the hands of the Indigenous communities, basically supporting the buyback itself. And if I wanted to follow along and track the efforts of that particular project, what would I have visibility into as a supporter?
Yeah, so basically on like the main, you know, interface, if you were to go in and see like what projects were available or needed funding, you could see like what portion of that square has been, you know, already funded, what, you know, a month later have more parcels been funded, et cetera. And then ultimately with the goal that once it's, you know, 100% funded, ideally everyone would get some sort of notification, recognition of their proof of support for this project. And then with, you know, I mean, this could be down the line too, but updates of how that, you know, project's going when the land is officially bought back, et cetera. And also potentially, you know, if status updates of, oh, there's like, you've contributed, now it's 90% funded, share, so that, you know, other people know how much is left to be, like, how much support is still needed, right? So, kind of very visually amplifying and just depicting that on a, like, map interface. I like to say, like, I don't know, like Zillow and GoFundMe and, you know, what's another thing? But those are the main ones where, like, you go in and you can see, like, where are you needed potentially, and how can you know, be of use to a specific area that maybe is important to you, or something like that.
And also working with artists, hopefully, down the line.
Yeah.
One more question. So is Sacred 501c3 or?
We are not currently. The goal is to create that for purposes of first, like pre-seed funding that we were able to receive for kind of build out purposes. You have to incorporate very quickly, so that was kind of our path, but our ultimate goal is to do that. So another process and learning opportunity for us is going through that process currently. So
I noticed something that maybe I'm newer to this, but it seems like a challenge. Is like we can create these NFTs for exactly what you're doing, which is like a charitable donation. But then how do we? Is there a way to map that NFT back to a 501c3 contribution so that it's then tax deductible? So Margaret's eyes lit up.
Well, just because yesterday I heard someone from Endowment who is working on this very thing. So just shout out to Endowment DAO. They're trying to connect traditional charities to the crypto world, and so you can still get tax deductible donations, and you can do it in crypto. And the charity will receive USD. So I don't know if there's an overlap there, but there might be.
Maybe potential integration and partnership with that community.
Yeah, so NFTs with Pombola work a little differently. So with stamp NFTs, you are not actually buying the NFT. Companies are buying the NFTs. And they are putting that money into the Pombola ecosystem, our shared treasury, so any community in Pombola can benefit. So with Pombola NFTs, they work by, you collect a stamp. I have sticker versions with a mint code in my pocket, and please come find me and I will give them out, and you can collect a stamp and see how it works for yourself. And so you mint a stamp by doing different actions. So right now we have, for example, a campaign with Index Co-op, which is a, let's see, they have crypto funds and like mutual funds that you can invest in that are on different crypto exchanges, so you can mitigate your risk of investing in crypto. And so they're trying to get more users. So if you, for example, sign up for their newsletter, you can collect a stamp. And then you can give that stamp to a community. And the community receives the value that Index Co-op paid into the ecosystem. So you're not paying any of your money. You're giving your time, your energy, and action in direct support of your community.
So would it be analogous, this, a metaphor, maybe it's a crappy one. It's like, let's say I have an airline credit card and I'm collecting points or redeemable value, but instead of me redeeming it, I'm choosing an organization to get the benefits of my actions that I would probably be taking anyway.
Yes, that is a good analogy. Another one is box tops for education. So I don't know if anyone's familiar with that, but you buy cereal and you cut off the box top and then
Throwback.
yeah, they are stamps. And, USPS has seen its better days. But yeah, so you would buy cereal and you cut off the box top, and the funds from that box top go directly to your local school. So similar to that, or credit card points that you would give to your community.
I think I'm so glad you're on this panel for a number of reasons, but I love that you're demonstrating a way in which NFTs can be incorporated that are outside the paradigm of like, I'm gonna log on with my MetaMask wallet and buy this asset. This is more like integrating just utility into another type of flow.
Yes, exactly. So our goal is really to think about NFTs differently, and we're not trying to have speculative NFTs. So what actually ends up in your wallet is a redeemed version of the stamp that you could give to someone else, but it will no longer have any monetary value attached to it because your community will have received that. So yeah, please come collect a stamp.
So with Therapex, I guess you get a few different things. First, you get the artwork, which is being created by our incredible artist who wasn't one of, well, she is a one-of-one artist in the NFT space, which means that she has created a lot of one-off pieces. This is her first generative collection. Secondly, you will get access to a series of self-guided wellness courses, which will be accessible by a token-gated website. So you have to do the login with your wallet so that you can access them online. And thirdly, you get to be a part of the donations we'll be making to a series of different charities which have been chosen by the community. We want to very much be driven by what the community wants and what the community needs, rather than saying, hey, this is what we're doing, do you want in? And having them guide where we are going. We have some other ideas of what we would like to do, but I do not want want to, what's the word? I don't want to make promises I can't deliver. So I keep some things quiet. Sounds right.
Always want to keep
Yeah.
it under wraps. And I know we have, we're at time here, but I would like to take just 1 minute to, if I can, share a little bit about like impact in Web3 in a particular way that it does not integrate NFTs. I want to just quickly give Gitcoin a shout out. I have been in the region / refi space for a bit, and I just recently joined Gitcoin as a full-time team member. And I'm working in grant operations and specifically helping onboard partners and grantees in our cause rounds. So some of you maybe have heard of Gitcoin. We were founded by a very enthusiastic open software nerd, Kevin Owaki, and our goal is to create open source public goods and to basically provide like really hefty matching pools for donations so that your donation as an individual will be matched quadratically proportionally to like how many other people are voting or donating for this particular project. And since our birth, we've expanded to include cause rounds. So now we have a climate round that's live, we have a diversity and inclusion round, we also have a crypto advocacy round, which can really help